Hello, hello, hello on a Wednesday night. We got quite a few people coming into the house tonight. Tonight's show, we got John Patrick III with us. Me and him both are carrying a big goose egg from the tournament, and we're going to talk a little bit tonight about that. But before we get started, let's say God bless America, guys. God bless each and every one of you and your families, and I hope you're doing well. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And we would happily chase some catfish, don't we?
Son, we tried. We tried.
Yeah, it's
6 hours we put a chase on them.
Yep, and that's a daggum fact. We had a cold front come in, and I don't know what happened. Them fish should have still been where we thought, because the water really didn't change that much in temperature as far as what you would think would force the fish out. But, you know, who knows? We got Creole catfish. We got John Jr. Fishing with the Chad. Creole, let's see. Who else we got here? Mike Irvin, catfish and crappie. We don't have that many in here tonight. Buckeye, there's Lyle, there's D, Mike Greenwell, Nebraska Wildcats, Buckeye Catfishing, Brandon, Kevin Baker, Ace. Guys, appreciate everybody coming in tonight. We got 34 watching. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up and share if you want. All right, John, me and you struck out. What would you have done different if the choice would have come up?
We threw live goldfish, live bluegill, and cut shad. Now, wasn't very long after the tournament ended, we had a bluegill in the bait cooler. Cut it in half, threw a bluegill head on, caught 11.5 pound blue cat. I believe the fresh cut bait might have made a difference. I'm hoping. I mean, we tried so many different things, so many different locations around the island where the water split both ways. You get a stream coming in. Right. So you get like a little the fish are going to go deeper. I messed up there, I think. But we gave it an honest try, and we had a blast doing it.
Yeah, I like that.
But I know I would definitely try fresh cut bait.
Sorry, guys. He's got a little bit of delay in his internet, but we'll work our way through it. Yeah, sometimes that fresh cut bait is the name of the game. Don't rely completely all on live bait or whatever, even if it is your go-to bait. You know, I didn't have that choice at the time. Did not bring any kind of cut bait with me. I was kind of relying on Wampus Cat being there, but his truck tore up, and I totally understand that. But with that being said, I went shallow. There was bait fish everywhere. There was tons of tread fin in that area. I did not carry my cast net. What I would have done different was probably bring my cast net and try to catch some of those smaller tread fin and put them out as bait. And you know, instead of waiting, I was scared if I moved, I would lose a signal. So, but next time I probably would have, well, next time I wouldn't have been catfishing at Moss Lake, but I was. I made that choice for me and the wife. But next time, instead of sitting there for hours, I would have sat for an hour, and then I probably would have moved out to the mouth of that creek, because on the way out, I seen a lot more bait fish. So if I would have had some of that same bait fish poured out to the mouth, that might have been the whole difference that I needed. So would you have changed to a different location?
I tried both points off the island and along the main river side of the island. And we would wait about an hour, maybe an hour and 15 minutes before we would move. I think I would have liked to try a fresh cut bait and even taken some chicken liver. I mean, going for the fact that we were going for numbers, not the giant flathead or the giant blue cat.
Right.
I wish I'd have taken a little bit more options of bait with me.
Right.
Now I did have two different rigs set up. One with the a rattle float with a Versa rattle right below it, and then I also had just like a regular sinker come down a little way, a slide sinker, come down to a swivel, drop down 8-10 inches, and have a hook. And neither one were getting a bite.
This plain Carolina rig. And I always have probably 2 rods out with just plain Carolina rig. Main reason is that the Carolina rig throws better with my floats than the other rigs. JP3, where you messed up was when you cut your hair. That's what somebody's saying, Ace.
I tell you what, it was a struggle. We had fun though, because this past summer's really been the most I've catfished in a long time. And growing up, it was channel catfishing. We were using chicken liver, maybe some crick chubs, a few bluegill here and there. This 2 years ago, I really got into watching Catfish Weekly and joining in with a lot of you guys on here. And this summer, we have really tried to hit it hard and get back into catfishing. And I've still got a lot to learn. When you get back into flathead and blue cat, it's a different animal than chasing channel cats in a small river around here.
Yes. And, that's probably what we should have done, was actually went for the big fish so the small fish would aggravate the piss out of us. That's the way it goes. You go for head hunting and then little ones will eat you to death.
And that's what this year is. Honestly, I cannot complain. It's been a good year. I took my oldest.
Uh-oh. Did you freeze? I think you froze up, everybody.
One morning got up, said, "Come on, let's go." We back?
Freezing. Yeah, you're freezing up. You're saying about 3 or 4 words, and then you're freezing up. Your screen is froze right now, but your audio's there. Yeah, well, you froze up. Hold up. Yep, we lost him. So we're gonna go on right now. He'll jump back in here when he gets the signal. If he gets the signal, guys, we want to talk about that tournament a little bit. There he is.
Hopefully,
you got a better signal now. Your screen looks clear.
Yeah, I went cell phone service instead of Wi-Fi.
Okay, there you go. All right, go ahead. What you're saying?
This year's been good. I took my oldest daughter, and she loved going fishing. And I told her, I said, you can't expect to catch one every time. So if we do, awesome. If not, we still had a great time. And that's the way I look at it every time I go, is I enjoy it. I just enjoy being out. She caught a maybe 6-pound channel. And then it wasn't a half hour later, she caught probably 10.5-pound channel cat. Around here is a nice channel.
Yeah, that's a good channel. So, I mean, it's something that I've always loved doing was I've always used the brim heads and stuff like that for the channel cats. And that's what I've tried to stick with now that I'm fishing for the bigger fish, because years ago when I started out, our lake didn't have nothing but channels. We didn't have the blues and the flatheads in there. Some surrounding lakes did, but I didn't know them lakes and I didn't fish them lakes. And, you know, they was a lot bigger lakes or a lot more crowded by then. So, but I have learned that a lot of the places and Wiley that I channel catfish, that actually I go back now looking for flatheads. Ooh. I don't know what happened there. We totally lost him, everybody. We totally lost him. Maybe he'll come back in there. But we want to discuss that even when you just fish, whether you're tournament fishing or going out for a good day, that you don't want to waste your time just fishing for nothing. He's trying to come back in. So don't waste your time being stuck in that one. Oh, this is the way I've always fished. This is the way I've always caught fish. Make sure that you have a lot of different things in your tackle box and not just product, but things up here that will help you get out of that. He's back. Let's see what's going on. I don't know what happened there. You just disappeared.
Oh, sorry, James. I lost service.
Oh, okay. Hey, you sound like you had where I'm at, man. I'm lucky to even have. Hey, guys, 10 minutes to the show, I didn't have internet here at the building, and I'd been pressure washing for 2 days, and I'm sure I hit that thing out there outside my antenna, and I had to restart my whole internet system again. So we're lucky here to be bringing you a show. But now the lake, what lake was you fishing on?
I was fishing on the Ohio River.
Okay.
Right up from the Racine Lock and Dam. I was just north.
We're going to have a problem, guys. His internet is smacking him. He's trying to run off a cell phone signal, and apparently that's giving him a fit. His phone keeps throwing him off. We'll see what we can do here in a few minutes. With that being said, I'm going to try to entertain you. Chad and him, I love this type of tournament. And I think he's on to something. I think there'll be more of them coming in. More people will be doing these type of tournaments, these online tournaments. I know they do a lot of them for the kayak fishermen, but I think we'll start seeing more along the lines of that. But now you was talking about the Ohio River.
We were just up from the Racine Lock and Dam. There's the Letard Island. We were just up from it. And I know some other guys that I talked to on here have had good luck around there. And I was hoping that I'd do the same, especially for the tournament. But I just could not catch a break.
I mean, was you fishing deeper water? Was you marking any fish? Well, you said you had your pontoon out, so y'all really wasn't able to see anything.
Right. We don't have a depth finder on it.
Right. So
I was
you
going
was
blind.
basically fishing area that you knew has a chance to have fish.
Right. And on the main channel side of the main river side of the island, when I talked to another guy in here, he was telling me, there's two nice ledges there.
Right.
There's one that initially comes off the island, a little ways out. There's another ledge that goes into the channel, especially where the barges run. So we had anywhere from 6 to 7 rods out at a time, and we would scatter out from closer, one shallow, one down where I could feel it fall off that first ledge, and throw a couple one out there and throw one deep. And then on the on the other side of the boat, we would do the same. And we just could not catch a break.
Yeah, it'd been nice if you had I mean, even a little old cheap depth finder that you could actually just see dots or something to let you know that something was down there. But for years, nobody had nothing, man. So you have to rely on. That's why one of the shows that I was asking, we had Doc on Catfish Weekly. What would you do if you got on the water, you paid your money, and your debt finder died? What would you do? You disappeared. No, you suck it up. You're not going to waste your money. You're not going to waste your time. You're going to rely on old school techniques. What is it going to take? You're going to have to look at the lay of the land. You're going to have to look at the way the water is flowing. If you're on a river, if you're on a lake and they're pulling current, you can go you're going to look for points. You're going to look for the mouths of creeks. There's things that you can look at and try to beat your brains and figure out, well, this is why I was catching fish here. Oh, excuse me. On this day, but not on this date. That's where it comes back down, everybody, to keeping you a diary or a log or whatever on the days that you do fish and you catch fish. I talked with Matthew the other day, and he still to this day keeps his logs. He's been doing it, I think he told me 14 years, 10 or 14 years, that he's got these logs that he can go back through and see what weather condition was, what water condition was, what the water temperature, depth, the whole thing. He's got it in there in his journals that he can go back and look through, and he can tell, well, this year we've had this much rain, so the rivers has been the lake's been full. Excuse me. Hallelujah, everybody. I got a cup of coffee in my hand. Been up since 3:30 this morning. So don't forget, start journals, everybody. It can give you a lot of great information when it's tough. It really can help you out, whether you're going to catch fish or not catch fish. Saturday, I chose a lake. Simply because the wife loves this lake. It's not a choppy lake. It's not tough. So I knew that it was going to be a struggle, but we give it a shot. Here we go.
I'm sorry, Mr. Smith.
That's the life on the fast lane on social media, buddy. That's the way it goes. If it ain't you, it's dang sure probably going to be me.
Well, we live out in the sticks. I mean, there's my nearest neighbor's 400 or 500 yards away. We're out in the sticks.
Right. Somebody just sent me a message. Here it is. Stan Smith. Where's he at?
He's probably trying to rub it in.
Well, he said if something happens and I need somebody to stand in, I can bring him in. We might bring him in here in a little bit anyway, just to talk junk with him. When you was going on what somebody else had told you, was there anything as far as landmarks and stuff that you was help you make that decision where to fish?
Well, the island's not very big, and the guy had told me he had drugged and fished that island many a times and has had excellent luck with it. So I figured, well, I know there's fish there.
Right.
There's got to be fish there. I mean, this guy, very credible.
Right.
So I figured to give it a try. And with not having the depth finder or the fishing boat, we were on a pontoon that we just would anchor up and go for it and see what happens. Figured even if we casted, let the bait drift where it was going to land and let it go, do its thing.
Right.
But we just, like I said, being relatively still new, learning this stuff, we threw what we knew to throw. And we struggled, but it was a nice learning experience, and it was fun being in, getting to talk to everybody. we both enjoyed it, and now we have a better idea of what to do for next year.
Well, yeah, and I mean, and that was actually, I was glad that you said what you said, that it was a learning experience. Every fishing trip should be that. Whether you're slaughtering the fish or whether you're catching a few or whether you're not catching anything, start keeping a journal. That's one thing that I learned from Matthew Anthony. He's been keeping a journal for over 14 years. And if you follow him on Facebook, or well, you don't, but on YouTube, his channel is Matthew Anthony Outdoors, I think is the name of it. This man catches fish. If he would decide to go pro catfish tournament fish, oh, there would be a lot of people probably quit fishing. This man, and it ain't just catfish. He can do the same thing with striper. He can do the same thing with catfish. He can do the same thing with a lot of different species, simply because he is very attuned to what is going on around him and with him and his equipment on his boat. He keeps journals on the weather condition, the lake condition, whether we've had a lot of rain this year or a little rain, drought conditions. He keeps a lot of great information. So if we go out on Saturday and we ain't doing jack, I can look back through my journal and say, well, this time last year, I was slaughtering them, but I was out on points, or I was in the back of creeks, or whatever. The water conditions was basically the same. That gives you a reference where to at least start, instead of fishing blind. And it's tough if you don't have Fish Finder. It is, but you didn't let it deter you. And kudos to you. You got out there, you give it your all. I give you a thumbs up.
We fished, like I said, both points of the island, because I like where that point is. There's you got two ledges that's going for you,
right?
Both sides, and then on the northern side of that, we're at point. Like I was saying before, we're at point. Really comes into a nice point. You've got the side water coming in, so I thought, man, this has got to be a good spot. You've got three things going for you. It just didn't happen that day.
Right
now, it's worked for me.
It might have come down. It might have come down that you needed to cut every one of those brim up from the get go. That might have been just that little bitty. That's why I always say it's the little bitty stuff that might get you. You was throwing brim, but you might needed to cut them in half to get them to go.
Because earlier this year, which I did post a video. I was right in that same area. I caught a 17-pound flathead on a live bluegill, and it was 8 to 10 minutes after throwing it in the water.
Right.
But times have changed, different weather, but it is what it is, and it was fun.
Around here, 90% around here, your flatheads is going to come on cut bait. Maybe 10% will come on live bait around here, and it ain't just for me. You can talk to Dieter, Jeff, and a lot of them that fish these same waters around this part of the East Coast. The majority of the flatheads come on cut bait. Go figure. Why? I don't have a clue. But we'll catch our share of big blues on live bait. Where I hear out west and stuff, they only come on cut bait. Very seldom do they catch them on live bait. So, I don't know. But it pays, like you said, it pays to throw something different out there. The last hour and a half I had out nothing but night crawlers. Nothing but freaking worms, and you thought I'd at least caught a brim, but it wasn't gonna happen. Chad, Patty is put up for the next year's tournament. Yeah.
Sometimes we're going to try to go.
Go ahead.
I'm on that awkward work schedule where I got a day off every week. Every Wednesday I've got off. And then every other week I've got Tuesday, Wednesday off. But I work Saturday, Sundays. It just happened that I could float around and get my days off last weekend to go.
Right.
And it may have, even though we didn't catch anything, it may not have been as bad as this next weekend coming up because it's supposed to be bad. And I know the wife's wanting to go Saturday evening once I get off work to go fishing. I'm hoping the rain at least holds out to let us go fish for a little while. But I feel for the folks coming up this weekend because they're going to might have a wet behind.
Yeah. And I was going to bring that up, towards the end of the show, that we need to keep all of them in our thoughts and prayers because Betty and them headed down towards Alabama. And if I'm not mistaken, they're supposed to get a lot of rain and some bad weather in that area. And I hope they don't decide to go out on Wilson or what's the other lake down there because that can be deadly. Them lakes can be deadly and high winds and stuff like that. A shovelhead, that's what they call them, flatheads and shovelheads, different part of the country. Is Creole in here still? I meant to hit him up and asked him the other day. Yeah, I guess he's still in here. Stan's waiting. I'll bring him in a second. Just like crappie, we call them crappie. Some people call them crappie. But there's Creole. You tell me what's the other word for crappie, which would be called sacrilege. If I'm not mistaken, I work with an old Cajun, and he called them sacrilege. I think is the proper word that they use down there in Cajun world. Anyway, it's different techniques. Like that's what David was talking about. Bait size is that it might have been all you needed to do was change up the size of baits. Which I usually do that anyway. Normally, is if I'm cutting big baits, I've always got rods that's got smaller baits on there. So who knows? It just wasn't going to happen. It wasn't going to happen for me Saturday. I didn't care what I'd done. I'd had to use dynamite. And there probably wouldn't have been nothing around to bring up.
Well, one thing about it, they'd have been pre-cooked when they come to the top.
Well, they might have been a little bit floating and bloated, though. That's for sure. They might have been already shredded and skinned. Mike Simpson's in here. Let's bring Stan in and see what he got to say. I'm sure he's going to rub it in because he's fishing off the bank and waxed us.
Hey. He was catching them this big.
That's what I was about to. That's about to say. If I would have went and pulled a Creole and caught 22 of them, I'd be up there running my mouth big time. But I caught them. Well, I caught the one, and my wife caught the other little dink. And hey, it was a numbers game, and it was a tough day. Right from not being able to get to the spot that I wanted to, just the cold front that came through, and just a whole bunch of things that were just working against it. But
yeah, that cold front's got all of us on the East Coast that day, but it didn't, I was out 2 days prior to that on the same lake and the water temperature didn't even change. So I don't know why the fish was not where I thought they would be or where they were. They just disappeared. So, but congratulations on Saturday anyway.
Hey, I was just honored to be out there fishing with y'all. It was amazing.
And that's the way I look at it. I had fun. It's all new, and we had to be the first ones on the learning curve of this type.
Talk about the pressure, right?
Yeah. So I enjoyed fishing against y'all guys. I did. I enjoyed it. The wife enjoyed it, and it was a learning curve.
My wife too. And talk about a miracle for her to be on camera catching a fish. That just that was sent down from God right there. That was a miracle.
Well, that's like I said. That was the first trip that my wife had ever fished with me. She had never fished with me. We go out on the boat a good bit, but she's just not into fishing and stuff. And for her to go and support me with this tournament and stuff, it was an honor. It was a blessing, and I'll take that any day. Now, if I'd have chose to go to Lake Wylie, I'd have been carrying daggum airhead Patty with me instead of her. You know, she don't do good with the choppy waters and the other heavy boat traffic. She don't have her sea legs. And, you know, we get out there in that boat, get to rocking. She said, let's go back to the dock now. She's ready to go. So I chose where I went knowing that I probably was going to strike out. But the lake does have catfish. So I tried to dig up what skills I have to try to figure out where they would be. And I missed.
Well, it does bring up a good point. Whether you're a bank fisherman, a boat fisherman, you have to have multiple spots, know where your spots are, know what they are.
Right.
You know, I had to go down to, like I said, it was the fourth spot that I went to, but in my head, I'm going through like 8, 9, 10 different places. You know, okay, well, I might run into the same issue over there. I'm going to go to this one where I went to was like a state boat landing, and there's walkways along both sides. So I know, well, eventually I go there. Right. It may not be where I want, but I'll at least be able to get a pole in the water.
Yeah, Junior, I was on Moss Lake. I really was. But now, see, if I'd have went to Wylie, I'd have been dragging baits. And I should have been dragging baits up there, but I forgot to take my extra battery for my trolling motor. So trolling motor was dead, and so we didn't drag baits. And the wind was blowing in the wrong direction. If I'd have pulled anchors and tried to let the wind carry me, it'd have been blowing me right in the bank every time. So I would, you know, there was no use even attempting that.
And that was,
you do. I mean, I love bank fishing. I still bank fish. You know, you see back in January, I put that 35 on the bank down there in the wintertime. I do good on the bank. I love it. And used to, I could about tell you where you needed to go, what bank you needed to fish off of, and what you needed to fish with to catch them fish off of the bank. But it'd been so many years since I've done it, I couldn't tell you now, you know, because I did not keep journals back then.
See, and that's what, if you would have told me last year that I'd have been on a YouTube channel with one of you guys, I would have said, yeah, right. Let alone getting out there fishing with you guys, and then to get the wife to join me, I was like, wow. But we're usually around where I'm at, we usually fish the bank. And I've got one spot where a little freshwater stream runs out and hits the main river. And then I've got a spot where creek, however people pronounce it, it comes into the river, and we fish there. And then we go down below the dam once in a while. And usually we're on the bank. So but we've been trying to catch
I think the main spots that we look for was those spots that people didn't want to go to. That was hard to get to, because then you end up, the fish don't feel as pressured there. But at a lot of times, them places that are getting hammered for a reason, not just easy access, but because the fish are running there. And usually them places are seasonal. Usually them places, we had a place that we used to in the summertime could wear the white bass out back when Wylie had white bass. And what it was that at this bridge, Seven Oaks Bridge, for people that know Lake Wylie, the lake is real wide, and then it narrows down right there. I'm trying to find the camera. It narrows down right there at that bridge, and then it widens back out. So even when they're not pulling current in that lake, there's always a little bit of current right there where it narrows down. The shad would ball up right there, and the white bass would just pile in there, and they would turn the water foamy white, would just do. That's when you know. Now you go down there early spring, you couldn't catch them. That's where keeping the journals, knowing what season to go, what places. During the spring, we're going down there, and the crappie was headed up to the back of Seven Oaks to spawn. So we knew that we could go there to crappie fish. And that's where you coming in. You was thinking of 8 different places in your mind. You're thinking, all right, if I can't get them here, what's at that next spot? Do y'all either one look at Navionics? Because see, you can put Navionics on your phone, and when you was out there on that boat, that would have give you a leg up as to where you was at, close to a river channel, how far off of that point you was. Use those apps. They're cheap. Use those apps, and they will help you out tremendously.
See now, James, I tried that. That was something I've never been. My technology is. You go back 30 years, I'm on it back then. But nowadays, I've tried that. I've tried the Navionics right here for the James River, and it's way off. The depths are totally different than. It's not really. It wasn't even close to what the actual river is.
Well, you don't rely so much on the depth, simply because depths change. Lake Wiley, I learned that places that was saying it was by Navionics was 35 foot. That was the actual river channel bottom. That lake has sealed it in. There's 10 foot of silt on top of that Navionics can't show you. That the only way you're going to see it is running over it with your fish finder.
Sure, and even in the James, it's tidal, so it was a 4 foot difference.
Right.
Every 6 hours, just going up and down 4 foot. So, but even with that, it was.
But the Navionics can show you the different depths at river channels, and not necessarily how deep it is, but you might have a ledge where you was bank fishing. You might have been throwing down here into the deep or throwing up here, but the fish might have been laying right here on that ledge. There might have been a long ledge that runs along there. Without Navionics, you wouldn't know nothing about it. And if you could have stopped your baits right there, you might have wore them out.
Yeah, I don't. That's where I'm old school with that stuff. I don't know if anybody got to see, but when I was casting out my poles, I had one in short, I had one out a little bit medium. I chunked a couple way out. I tried to get it at different different distances out from shore to see if I could find any. It's pretty much right there in that area. There's really the channel is pretty much on my side, on this side of the river, and it's pretty well flat through there. So
right, but it don't take but a small.
Oh yes, sir.
Small, irregular, something different. That whole ledge might be the same all the way down through there, and have one little bitty cut in,
and
that's where they at.
I was sitting there thinking to myself, damn, if I just had a Patriot James bobber, I had that there was a bunch of islands and brush and stuff off to the right, I would have taken that bobber and floated some of that cut bait right down through there. But I didn't even have any bobbers with me that day.
Stan, just so happens we know a guy that could hook you up with some Patriot James bobber.
Yeah. But that's, like I couldn't use them the other day, Saturday. The wind would have been blowing right back in my face. That I couldn't even use my own bobbers. I mean, I guess I could have, but it wouldn't have made no difference, because where I had the basin setting in 4 foot of water, I was already covered that water column with my baits.
Yes,
so
sir,
it really didn't matter if I put them on there or not. But it's good to have another piece of equipment in your arsenal for catfishing. Just like you said, you've seen a perfect opportunity that would have worked out perfect for you. I seen the days where you could have thrown them bobbers up creek and let them drift down, especially if you didn't have too much current where they was flying down the water.
Yep.
And it gets kind of aggravating when you're trying to throw out other rods and stuff because they're floating back down into your line. You really got to watch them. But at the same time, that might be what it takes to get that bite. Is that bait drifting down through that water column, real natural, like something killed it up here, and it's coming back down through there, and it bouncing around, floating around, and then they go grab it because it's the most natural presentation to me that you can give that fish.
And and sometimes I've heard it, Catfish Weekly and your show, and Palmetto out with his, and you know, I could go on and on. What I caught those on was flavored chicken. I had cut shad, I had cut carp. The only bites I got that day were flavored chicken. So don't be too set in your ways as an old dog. Don't be too set in your ways to go out there, and when there's people coming up with new ideas, try them.
And in that circumstance, in that tournament, then that's why I had chicken. I had other what I call store baits.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when I go out with myself, because I've been fishing for over 30 years, when I go out by myself, I'm head hunting. I'm head hunting only. There ain't going to be no store baits. I'm going to throw the biggest freaking bait I can get on my line. I mean, I will downsize if the fish are telling me that, but I've just set it in my head. If I don't get but one fish, I'm happy. If I don't get but one fish that day, I'm happy.
And that's what.
I'm head hunting, and I've accepted that. Now, if I would say if y'all two would happen to come into Gastonia, Kings Mountain area and said, James, I want to go fishing with you, it'd be a different story. I would downsize my baits. I would be willing to drag baits in areas that I know we're going to put fish on the boat. So everybody's getting fish. But then about 12 o'clock, I'm going to say, all right, guys, head hunting or keep doing what we're doing. If you said head hunting, then the account's going to drop dramatically. You know, that's why I get a lot of skunk days, because I'm willing to accept that skunk to go after that one fish.
Well, that's
you hope you get more, but you're willing to accept that.
That's what JP3 was doing with sticking with the live bait, trying to get that respectable fish in there. And I got to admit, I had after a while I had 5 poles out. I only had 2 with the chicken on it. The other 3 I had big. I wanted to show the James River, because I'm proud to be. I know that we can go out there and probably 75 yards, 100 yards from that spot, my son has caught him over 60 pounds right there in a kayak. So
and it ain't just spots. It's just the river itself. The James River, and no matter where you're at on the James River, you have that potential to really put a monster fish on the bank or over the boat.
So that's why when I showed in the camera, I had that shad head. It was bigger than my hand.
Right. Yeah, you just have to be prepared and, accept it. I'm going to throw big baits.
Yeah.
But, like Jeff Manny said, he got the late record on Wiley, 82 pounds. That bait was just a little bitty chunk of perch. But the bait never ever even hardly hit the bottom when the fish took off with it. So he put that bait on that fish's nose.
No.
Any other time, I feel, this is just my opinion, and that's like butthole, so everybody's got one. But I feel that any other day, if that bait would have been 2 foot away from that fish, would he have stopped what he was doing to go grab that little bitty morsel? I don't think so. I don't. I mean, that's just personally me. So I could be wrong.
It's been years since I've been down there, but we fished the James River, and oh my goodness, I knew wherever we were at, I don't know if it's the James River Bridge, and it was like 5 miles across that bridge. We were very close to that. I can't remember exactly where it was now, but we fished there and we slayed them.
Yep.
Between those and now, Steen, you might call them this too. But there was a fish we was catching they called croaker.
Yep.
I can't remember. But
it's a saltwater fish.
Bass,
yep.
We filleted them up and fried them. Oh my goodness, the eating was good that evening.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm telling you.
That croaker makes an awesome bait too. Croaker and spot. It's they're again another oily fish, and that croaker's got such a sweet taste. It's like candy to the catfish. I've used them. That where you're talking about that. where you're talking about, that's that James River Bridge. It's further east, closer to. It's kind of a little brackish water there. You'll get some croaker spot. You'll even get some flounder up in there. It's got pretty good content of salt in it.
That's a place that you could use those saltwater fish as bait because they do come in there periodically. So the catfish and the other fish are used to seeing them come in there. So it's nothing unusual for them to eat fish like that. I'm just one, I try to stick to baits that are in that water. Will a different bait work? Sure it will. It's, whether it's going to be, are you going to put one or two in the boat when you're on a mess of fish, or are you going to put 22 in the boat because there's a mess of fish? Now
listen, my buddy Creole, I think he had strawberry chicken that day too.
Yeah,
and that's what he landed all those fish with that day.
He only caught one on skipjack, and he was catching skipjack right there where they was catching them with the chicken. So it comes down to, what do you want? Do you want numbers? Well, when you're in a tournament like this, you better go for numbers. And I took bait for numbers. I should have took bait for big fish, and I probably would have caught little fish.
My Lord, when I heard you were putting out all night crawlers, I'm like, here we go. It's going to be Channel Cat City. He's just gonna.
And that last place I fished, I have caught lots of channels, and I'm really surprised I didn't get into the hybrids. That lake is stocked with hybrids. They stock 28,000 every year.
Wow.
Of the hybrid bass in there. And they will wear out chicken livers. Some guns will eat a chicken liver before they eat a shad. No, go figure. And y'all seen, I showed you on my screen. Y'all seen the fish. I marked the fish. I marked a load of fish coming in that last spot. Go figure. That's all right. I had fun. And I enjoyed fishing against y'all guys. You whooped our tail stand, but I had fun, and it was an honor.
The honor was all mine. I was like JP3 said, you go back a few months, and I didn't even want to go out my door. And to go from that to fishing with y'all.
Well, if it gets you out of the house, my friend, that's what it's all about.
Speechless. And that doesn't happen often, that I'm speechless. And it truly was. I'm truly honored to fish with both of y'all. It was amazing.
It was a great time. The laughs were there. It was just fun.
Well, I hope I got y'all laughing. Oh, yeah.
Oh, James, you're Patriot Patty there. She's made the channel. She's out and about.
I knew we would get
just for advertising purposes. She did not have Patriot James Barbers with her either.
See there?
No, that's a fact. The Barbers was bigger. That's what I tried to tell him. She is not anatomically correct. She's a unit. But I knew that it would get some laughs, and I knew if we was having a bad day, guys, that would break that monotony. That would help get us through some of the bad times, keep us from getting aggravated, and it was fun. I mean, it was fun. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed watching them all Sunday. I'm looking forward to this weekend's tournament part of it. I just hope everybody stays safe out there, guys and gals. Please stay safe. Let us know how you're doing. Of course, we're going to be watching, but go home to your loved ones and kids. That's what it's all about. The catfish will be there for another day. It's not worth risking life and limb over chasing a catfish.
What's bad is I have to miss the live show because I've got to work both days. So I will be going back and watching after the fact. But I'm hoping to get out Saturday evening after I get off work and do a little catfishing, long as the weather cooperates. But I know the rain's supposed to be coming in, and it is what it is.
JP3,
but I'm going to try.
It's almost as fun watching it in replay. I ended up doing that for both on Sunday. I was it took a little bit out of me. I keep forgetting I ain't as young what I used to be. So I missed a good portion of that Sunday show, but go back and watch it on replay with the replay in the live chat, and it's almost as good. Not quite, but it's almost good.
Yeah, I'm an old dog, guys. I ain't as young as y'all think I am. And I'm beat up, but it takes it out of me too. Being on that boat wears me out. Fishing on the bank wears me out. But it ain't. Don't let it stop you from going out and enjoying what the good Lord has blessed us with. He really has blessed us, and if we are physically able, I think that it's only right that we do get out there and enjoy what He's blessed us with.
And on that, I just want to add, that's the one thing that I'm trying to start videos and whatnot, that if I can get one person to do that, it'll be all worth it.
That's exactly right. That's what me and John was talking about earlier before we come on, is that I work a lot with veterans, and I was not able to serve my country. So I feel that it's my place as an American citizen to give and do my duty now. They done their duty. So give back. If I can honor one soul or get one veteran that's right on that edge, but he decides, I'd like to go fishing with James, or I just want to go catfishing. James made it look fun. Or Stan made it look fun, or John made it look fun. I'm gonna get my tail off this freaking couch and go do something.
You've already done it. You've already done it.
You've done it. And that right there means more to me than $1 million, knowing that I helped somebody get through a bad time in their life.
That's what when me and you talked earlier. Like I said, my mom's dad, he was in World War II, and he's still living. And,
God bless him.
And then my dad's dad was in Korea, and he's still alive. And me and my pap fished from the time I was little clear up into when I can't even remember. It just, fishing was something we've done.
Yep.
And we channel catfish down here at the river a lot. I couldn't begin to tell you how many nights we'd go at 9 o'clock at night and not come back till 10 o'clock the next day.
Yep.
That's
what catfishing was to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I did Saturday. Was
my mother's father, he didn't fish. He gardened. He loved gardening. He would get out there even when he done had multiple heart attacks, couldn't hardly walk with a cane. He would still walk behind that freaking tiller busting dirt. But my father's father, he loved to catfish. He had some kin people that had a little cabin down on Lake Wiley, and he would catfish. Now, Pawpaw didn't have but one eye, and he had missing fingers, but with that one eye, it was like tunnel vision, like looking through a tube. That's what his vision was. So every one of his fishing rods, he would take the handle off of them and put an umbrella handle, the curved umbrella handle on them. So if they got jerked down or whatever, they would hang on something.
Mm-hmm.
And I bought their old home many years ago, and I inherited one of his old Zebco 33 Classics, the chrome and black ones, with the broom handle, his old solid fiberglass rod. We went out and set up at night right on a point that the channel edge was right here and 4 foot of water was up through here. I already had my shallow rods out, and I put a big old brim head about the size of your freaking hand on a double hook rig. And I said, "This one's for you, Pawpaw." And I throwed the whole damn fishing rod and everything right off the freaking boat. Sorry, people, I didn't mean to cuss. I threw rod and reel and everything right off in the lake. And it's still in the bottom of Lake Wiley. I said, "Well, I guess Pawpaw wanted that one back, boo, because he got it."
And James, he's still laughing up there right now.
Oh, he's still laughing his tail off at that, son. I mean, I threw for 3 hours. I took and tied 4 treble hooks on a daggum line and throwed and throwed and throwed. But they was pulling water that night, and they ain't no telling where that rod and reel went. Yeah, what it is, but that was a good story. So take away from the ever trip. Don't lose that opportunity to make, lasting memories, laughs, even cries. I've had some of the best times with friends and family on the waters. That those memories that I'll hand down to my grandkids, I'll tell those stories on here, and share them with y'all. I consider y'all family. So it's, I don't know. I'm blessed to be able to do this. I'm blessed to call y'all friends. I appreciate y'all's support on the channel. I really do. I'm glad that y'all had fun Saturday. I'm glad that I could bring a few laughs to everybody Saturday. Congratulations on you too, Fish Stan.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
We'll get it another day. I'm trying to go Saturday, guys. I know I can't fish in that tournament, but I'm gonna try like crazy to redeem myself. I'm going to Lake Wiley. Me and Patty are going to Lake Wiley to redeem ourselves.
I've been saying the same thing. I'm going to try to go do a video from the spot that I wanted to go to, just for the redemption.
Yeah, redemption. That's for sure, guys. But I did, and I think Chad and Dee, they done a wonderful job. They really did, and I'm looking forward to it. And it'll only get better. Like my first tournament, it went good. It could have went better. We didn't get to do it this year. So next year is going to be even better than what it would have been this year. It gives me a little more time to get stuff planned out. This COVID mess will go away. So it's all a learning curve. The very first time you got to get it done.
We did it. We did the first one. We gave Chad hell that morning. Nobody getting to the spots, and we couldn't make it easy on him. But
hey, his computer was giving him a hard time the first day and the second day. I know he was sitting there going, but it is what it is.
And as hard as we think we had it, like I said earlier, you wait till you see the folks coming up this weekend with all that rain and these storms coming in.
Yeah.
They're going to have it even rougher than us. I don't think me and James will be the only ones with the goose egg after this weekend.
Hey, and you never really know. We just lost Stan. You never really know. They could go out today. They could go out Friday and mark good fish. Saturday morning, gone. That is fishing. Lyle has said that many a time about tournament fishermen, and even himself and Cindy go out, mark fish the day before, a cold front roll in that night, and the next day they have to change up their daggum plans because those fish move. But usually those fish don't move too far if it's a cold front that moves in. Usually they'll pull out a little bit. So if you can relocate or figure out, that's why I was asking you, what was your next plan? If you could change up or do something different, what would you have done? If you think about what you know now, what would you have done different?
If I would have been set up, I would have tried to drag all the way up that island.
Okay.
Instead of spot fishing, I would have anchored up spot fishing. I would have tried to drag up that island. But I wasn't set up for it, and I really didn't know what to expect.
Right.
And it was the first time I've ever done anything like that. So,
right. All you can do is try.
I figured I'd give her a shot and see what happens.
Right. You said you was on a pontoon, and I fish off a pontoon too. So when I'm dragging baits, I do a lot of the Steve Douglas, drop my bait straight down, reel up, where they're just hanging vertical underneath the boat. But I started buying those bait fishing holders that you can get them at Walmart and other places that look like a big coil spring. You know what I'm talking about? They're red. They look like a coil spring.
Yep.
what I done is across the back of my boat, I drilled me some holes just about the same size as those poles, and I drop them down in them holes on my back rail. And I just bend them a little bit. So if I decided I'm dragging forward, I can go back there and throw them baits out the back of my boat, just drop them in them rod holders. You know what I'm saying? So if you decide to try to drag, then you can out the back of your boat. Because I know most pontoons, they got rod holders, but they're all up front. But that was, you have to change it up and figure out that pontoon is a trick. It is tricky dragging baits, especially if you got much wind. And the wind was coming in on you, and it was coming in on me. After I got home, though, I found my foot pedal for my trolling motor. I could have drove baits. I would just had to use the foot pedal. So go figure. All right, Stan, I don't know what happened either, man. It was you lost your signal. Go ahead.
And like I said, we're going to try to go out hopefully this Saturday after I get off work, and we'll be bank fishing, and it's just something me and my wife like to get together and do. So to me, I didn't care. I just enjoy being out there. Glad I've got that one under my belt. Now I know some things I need to change. Maybe hopefully try a few different things. Take a few more baits with me. We have more options. Right. Maybe make a couple different kind of rigs, right, and just try to get set up a little better for next time.
And that kudos to you. You're not letting a skunk get you down. You're letting a skunk teach you something to learn from, and that's what each trip needs to be.
I figure we started. We left the dock. It was 7:45. We did come back about 2:30. We docked back up. I figured, well, I haven't caught anything yet. Let's throw rods off the boat. Threw rods out. Went and got something to eat. Helped Dad get a few things done up there at camp. Decided we were going back out that evening, and we fished till 11 o'clock at night. So we fished all day and half the night.
Right. Well, that's it in a nutshell, John. Is you went out there to have a good time. The fish was a bonus. The fish was a bonus. That's what
we accomplished. That we had a great time. Got to talk to you and Stan and Chad and D, and we just had a great time. And I know Patty, she never had a complaint one.
That airhead, I glued her lips shut. You don't never know what an airhead will say. So, but guys, John, thank you for coming in the show tonight. Stan, I appreciate you jumping in here with us tonight. We was the first crew. We was the crew from the very first day. So we didn't set the standards too freaking high for the first day though, but that's all right. We got it down, and we was the true crew. We was the first ones out there to get our feet wet, so that was all right. I enjoyed it. I had a blast, and it was an honor fishing with and against y'all. I would love to put fish on the boat, but I know that that's fishing. Hey, guess what, man? We was doing it in America. We was doing it in America. Fishing for American catfish with American people watching on American. Oh, man, I just love it. God bless America, guys. God bless you and your families. John, it was an honor, my friend. Keep in touch. If you want some pink bobbers, let me know. We'll set you up. I got a few of the hot pink ones left. I was trying to hold off on because I can't find that color pool noodle no more. But if you want two pink ones, we'll set you up one of each, and we'll set you up right for you and your wife. And like I said, guys and gals that are here watching, and I'm not trying to promote my bobbers. I don't do that on here, but I am sponsoring some breast cancer awareness programs. So anything that I make off of these are going towards that. So if you want any guys and gals, look me up. We'll set you up right. And for this month, for the breast cancer awareness, I normally get $8 a piece for these bobbers. For this month, they're going for $7 because all proceeds are going towards breast cancer. So look me up, get a better price. That being said, John, thank you.
Thanks for having me on, James.
Yeah. God bless y'all. God bless America. And we'll see y'all next Monday night on Catfish Weekly. Good night.
Good night.
Hold on.